Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 5th episode of Stags in the Studio here at Fairfield University during the 2024-2025 school year. And let me tell you, when this one is one of the more exciting ones all year, this is going to be great. We'll start with our student athlete. Our athlete today is a sophomore from Enwell, New York, and before Fairfield, she was a 4-time All-Conference honoree, the 2022 BCANY Class A Player of the Year, and an elite 3-sport athlete. She was on the 2023 All-MAC rookie team and All-MAC tournament team at the MAC tournament in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Had 15 double-digit games, including 3 20-point games during the season as well. To start this season, she was the leading scorer in the Fairfield's first ever win in SEC competition, 18 points. Our student athlete guest is Kaety Lamro. Kaety, welcome to our studio.
Thank you.
Our second guest today is the head of recruiting here at Fairfield and the 3rd year with the Stags. Has been an influential process in the success of standout guard Janelle Brown. Before Fairfield, she spent time at San Francisco College as a recruiting coordinator and assistant coach. She also spent a season at Harcum College as the recruiting coordinator, and she's really known as the energy here at Fairfield. A former college point guard at the University of Delaware, scored 1,402 points during her career and earned 3 All-CAA honors. She then started her coaching career at Delaware as an operations intern and then moved on here to Fairfield. She's recruited new players as Sydney Scott, Jillian Herder, Cyan So, and Raina Brown to bring to Fairfield for this season. Brown has helped bring in 7 new student athletes, which would later represent 71% of the team's scoring last year. Today's guest is Erika Brown, or better known here at Fairfield as Coach E. Welcome to our studio.
Thanks for having me, Lolo. It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one indeed. You know, I hope I was like 3 pages worth of information, so I hope I got you guys in the right place in terms of everything that you've accomplished. To start, I'm going to ask you, Coach Brown, what was your interest in Kaety as you were recruiting here to Fairfield, and then I'm going to ask Katy's perspective as well.
Okay. Getting Kaety to Fairfield, her recruitment was a little bit different. She was originally committed to Fordham University when we got the job. So, I knew that, but I didn't go and watch her. Obviously, she was committed to a school already. There was a coaching change at Fordham, and she reopened her recruitment. It's funny because I actually seen it on Twitter, and I'm like, that's like the point guard from Fordham. But I'm like, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, whatever. And Coach Carly's old college coach was the head coach at Fordham when it was the coaching change, and she was like, hey, you got to go see this kid. I'm telling you, she's your type of kid. She's a point guard. Like, I love this kid. You're going to love her. But obviously, Coach Carly wasn't in Indiana where she was going to play at. And I was, and Blake was on the way there. She was like, you need to go see this kid. Like, let's see what's going on with her. She opened her recruitment. Like, said she's really good. She was committed to an A-10 school. Okay, great. So I wasn't at this tournament at all. Okay, I wasn't. I paid for a different tournament, but then I was like, I'm going to go watch a game. Okay, let me tell you something about AAU tournaments, okay? They cost about $800 to get in just to watch the game. It's insanity, right? Like, I'm like, I just need to see one kid. I knew the guy running the tournament. I said, I can't pay $800. This is ridiculous right now, right? So, and it really was like $550, but I was like, that's like kind of, he was like, nah, E, you got to pay. I'm like, great. Like, I can't just watch the Nets here. Like, it's fine. Like, he was like, no, you got to pay. So I'm like, all right, I'll pay. So we go in. Blake meets me at the game. We're in there watching. First play of the game, Kaety hits a step back 3. Said, looked at Blake. I said, okay. Think she could do that consistently? Next play of the game, she comes down behind the back, step back, pull up. I said, okay. It's kind of good. All right. So then the next play, she probably like gets to the rim or something like that, and then just like watching the flow of the game, like her defending and like just like her dog mentality and like how hard she worked. I said, oh my God, yes, we need that as a point guard. So immediately during the game, Lammy's over there watching me and Coach Blake and her mom. She thinks we're not paying attention. I'm texting her future head coach like, yes, we need to offer her. This kid is a dog and you will love her. Like, honestly, like the first 3 plays of the game, I was just like, yeah, I'm good. I didn't even need to watch the rest of the game, like, to be honest with you. Like, I hope that she didn't suck after, and I watched it, but I was like, wow, this kid's going to be special. And I knew the type of point guards and players that Carly wanted to recruit here to have edge and have dog mentality. Obviously, we had Janelle at the time, but being able to add, like, a running mate with her, I was like, ooh, we got a 2-headed monster. We get this kid. Carly believed, me and Blake basically said the same thing to her, and she was like, all right, cool. So right when we came back, she offered her. got her on campus at the end of the summer, and she committed at the end of the visit. So it was an untraditional way of recruiting. We didn't get to spend a lot of time getting to know her and the family, but from the time that we seen her that first time all the way till she came and visited, we did our job of like, you know, learning her family and, you know, people that were in her circle and stuff. And honestly, it's the best $550 we spent all the time. I mean, like, I look at Blake during games that we play this year and I'm like, she'll do something crazy, you know, good. And I'm like, that's the best $550 we ever spent, Blake. Oh my God. Like, I'm good. Like, we're good. So it was a good way. I'm excited that, you know, she chose us and knew this was the place for her. And I mean, the sky's the limit. She obviously had a great first year as a freshman and started the year off as a sophomore with a chip on her shoulder. She's the type of kid that, you know, she's never going to be satisfied with what she does. She always wants more. And that's what makes me love her, especially as her point guard coach. I think we relate well. That's literally why I call her my daughter, because we're the same person. We have that edge and grit and tenacity with us. And it's the same as Coach Carly. And you don't get to coach every single player that's like that, and when you do, it's special. So I think her best basketball is ahead of her, and I'm excited, you know, for the rest of the season, the next couple of years with this kid, because she's gonna be special when it's all said and done. So
I don't know, Kaety. Well, I want to see your angle, but I don't know if it's going to be as crazy as that. But kind of take us through, you know, as Coach E was saying, it wasn't as traditional of a process. So kind of talk about that a little bit and talk about your visit and how it came to be.
Yeah, like she said, my recruiting process with them was a little untraditional. So I remember I called Coach Carly like the day before I played, and she was like, unfortunately, I can't come to your game, but my assistant coaches are gonna, and I hadn't even talked to them yet before they came. And I still remember after the game, like, I thought I played decent, whatever, and I like go over to my mom. I was watching them in the corner, and they were on their phones the whole time. I was like, they're not gonna offer me. I was like, I might as well just look into other options because they're not gonna want me. They were on their phones. And then I think it was either after the game or after the tournament, like, they called me up, offered me, and then there was a little gap before I could actually come visit because I was on vacation and whatnot, and then I ended up going, visited, and committed later that day.
At a barbecue spot. How elite is that?
Doesn't get better than that, right? Over food?
Big time. That was the best barbecue I've had in my entire life just because she committed, by the way.
So getting into more this season, Kaety, I wanted to ask what you've like taken from your first year and like how you applied it in this offseason getting ready for the sophomore season.
Yeah, so definitely put in a lot of work this offseason, and like we were expecting like to have a very good team this year, and we wanted to come back, but like unfinished business from last year. So I put in a lot of work in this offseason, and I think my biggest thing personally was coming in and playing like a more mature version of how I played before. So that was my biggest thing.
I think that's a great approach, especially now that you have some more leadership roles, now that you're a sophomore. And, you know, I don't know if you could speak to, obviously only one game so far, but like the dynamic of the team and how that shifted so far. Like, how do you feel the difference from first year to now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously last year we were a very close-knit team, and I think this year there's a lot of carryover with that because we kept a lot of people, returned a lot of players. And I think Coach E did a great job recruiting personality and talent. So we got a lot of great girls and a lot of talent. So I think we blend really well this year.
You know, Kyle and I got to experience a lot of your run last year. Andrew and I were actually there in Atlantic City when you won. And one of the things that really stood out to me about your season last year is Janelle Brown had, I believe, 3 fouls in the first, 2 minutes of that game. And I understand.
Still not over that, Logan.
I promise it's going to be a positive thing here. Kaety, you stepped up really big. You had, I don't remember how many points you had, but you were really facilitating. You stepped up in that leadership role, and I saw a lot of just the growth and maturity throughout the season. I think we called the first game, and then we called the last as well, and we just saw so much difference in the way you carried yourself, the way you kind of controlled the floor as well. And I think that's something that was really big in kind of your development last year. And looking forward to this season, we're really excited for next Tuesday. That's going to be big. And so kind of talk about, I'm going to switch it a little bit to Coach Carly. You both came under Coach Carly in different ways. And Coach G, how did you, we've talked about this in person a little bit, but for the people watching, how did Coach Carly kind of come and recruit you here?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously knew who Coach Carly was, right? Like the Tebow name, her father in the WNBA and stuff like that. So I knew who she was. Obviously, when you're in this business, you see when coaches get jobs. I was like, oh, okay, Fairfield. I knew about Fairfield because one of my old players transferred here when I was at FIU, Callie Kavanaugh. So I always knew about Fairfield. I followed that kid. When she transferred, we stayed close and stuff. But yeah, one of my best friends in the business, he asked me would I be interested in going to Fairfield. I said I mean, it's in Connecticut. I'm from New Jersey. So yes, I would love to get closer to my mother and my family 100%. I was like, why did you ask that? He goes, well, I know the head coach and her husband, so I'm going to reach out to them to see if they have their staff already. I said, great. I'd love that. So I'm not thinking of anything of it, right? I'm doing my job at the school I'm at, making sure I'm there for my players, recruiting, doing all that stuff, for my former boss and everything. And, he goes, well, I talked to them. They don't have their staff yet, so I think she's going to call you. I said, wow, that's great. But, you never get too high. You never get too low. You don't know, people say things or whatever. I don't know them, So I was like, okay, great. And I remember I was recruiting that weekend. It was a recruiting weekend for college coaches and stuff like that. I had came back that night. She texted me, hey, Erika, this is Coach Carly, the new, women's basketball coach at Fairfield University. How was your recruiting weekend? Yada, yada, yada. Would love to talk. I was like, oh, wow, she texted me. Like, this is great. So we set up a call. We talked on the phone. And from the first conversation, we did not talk about, her vision of what she wanted it to be at Fairfield. Like, she just literally asked about me as a person, right? We were literally having a conversation like we were friends that just met up, you know what I mean? And that was different for me, having a boss that wasn't it wasn't just straight business for her. Obviously, she was trying to recruit someone on her staff that she needed to help, continue to build this program that she's built. But she was really a people person. I was like, oh my God, we related so well. I could tell she was a younger coach and that she cared about that stuff. And I could tell that she cared about people, right? We did not really talk about basketball. We talked about recruiting that weekend and that was probably it. We talked about how she was cleaning up, the offices, getting ready for staff and all that stuff. So it was great. And just who she was as a person. And that really stuck to me. And I think at the end of that conversation, I was like, wow, I hope she calls me again. She was like, okay, we'll talk at the end of the week. A couple days. I'm like, all right, you never know what's going to happen there. You don't know if she really liked me. I'm like, I don't know. Did I do good or whatever? And I was like, wow, I remember I called one of my friends and I was like, I really hope that she calls me at the end of the week. And, people do their research. They call your old bosses. They call my college coach, all that type of stuff. And it was great because I was getting text messages. Hey, Carly at Fairfield just called me and gave a good recommendation. I said, oh, this is good. Yes. So she calls me at the end of the week. We talk again. She's like, hey, I want to get you up to campus to see it, yada, yada, yada. And at this point, she hadn't offered me the job. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm getting a job. I guess she wants to meet in person and stuff. Long story short, came to campus, loved it. I didn't realize what Fairfield looked like. Obviously, they were building a brand new arena. So I seen all these renderings. I got to meet people here, got to meet her in person. And I'm a big vibes and energy person. If you know anything about me, when the vibe is not right, it's not going to click. It's not going to work. And who she was on the phone is exactly who she was in person. I said, I can get down with her. And then just this place, I'm like, oh my God, I can recruit here. I've recruited at places. I'm like, I don't know how I got really good kids. I'm like, oh, this is going to be perfect for me. And then just being able to recruit and sell her, I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm good. We talked about the vision and stuff. And then at the end of, the visit, she was like, I want to offer you the job. So are you going to come be a stag? And I didn't plan on taking the job when I came to campus. I literally was like, I'm not going to take the job until I'm going to take a couple of days. And everything felt so right for me. Again, vibes, energy, people, felt so right. I was like, I can't walk out here and tell this lady, I'm going to take a couple of days just to tell her I'm going to take the job. So I'm like, yes. So we're walking out or whatever. She calls Blake. She goes, we got a new stag. So he's on the phone yelling and all that stuff. So it was the best decision I ever made. I tell people all the time, I'm blessed. I'm grateful, that I even had a friend that knew her and it was a mutual connection and we got to link up. And just being around, a special group and our staff, the people here at Fairfield, the players that we've been fortunate enough to recruit. Carly's great. She's the best head coach in the country. And I don't take that lightly. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that because that's my boss. If you know anything about me, I'm always going to be real. So if she wasn't, she wasn't. But she truly is. The way that, she gets the best out of our players and gets the best out of our staff and pushes us to be better coaches. Unbelievable. And, I wouldn't want it any other way. If I had to do this again over and over, I'd do it again and pick this same place with these same people and doing it the same way. So,
I think, for me personally, when I've met some of the staff as well, we got to meet Coach Carly down in Atlantic City when we were in the interview room. So that was super cool just to kind of see that. I met you about a month and a half ago and I was like, that's fantastic. But Kaety, I'm going to switch the question to you here. I remember when I saw Coach E on the sidelines for the first time with all the energy, I was like, who is this person down there bringing all the energy? Coach Carly was yelling during the game too. I was like, I love this. Give me your first impression when you came on the campus for your summer workouts and things like that as coaching staff, because in my opinion, it's one of the most fun staffs in the country.
Oh, it 100% is. Like, you always like hear about like college athletics and how it's like very business oriented, and it's like we're definitely about business, but that is not that's not the whole picture here. Like, they're very personable people. Like, and that was one of my huge things. Like, you got to go where you're wanted and can see yourself. And I felt very wanted here, and I knew I could make this a home. So coming here like my freshman year summer, it was like a lot, like to see how much they care and how excited they are for you. So it was a really easy environment to step into.
So you've been speaking a lot on like the vibes of the team and like the personalities. So what have you done this year, or even like what you might plan to do to like help the team come together and like make everyone feel comfortable? Because I'm sure that, you know, from when you started to now, you feel a lot more like comfortable with the team and with players. They've opened up. Basically, what do you plan to do for this year?
Yeah, because it is definitely, I think we got 5 new people this year, so that's definitely a big change in environment and how we vibe. But like as a team, being here all summer, we would do everything together. Like, you're going to get dinner, you go with the team. We would go to the beach every day after practices. So that was a huge thing, like having all that time. And then I think one of our biggest things is we kind of like we go to coaches a lot and we go and do stuff. Like, we just the other day went over there and carved pumpkins and ate dinner there. So I just think like that type of stuff is what really makes us such a close-knit team on and off the court.
And then one thing I'll add is just, you know, in the recruiting process is we recruit character. I mean, you know, you obviously need talent to be good, but you need good kids. And we were fortunate to walk into a situation 3 years ago with good kids we inherited, and we're able to continue to recruit good kids like Kaety and, you know, Nelly and stuff like that. So we do a really, really good job of that, because that matters. That builds your culture, which is why, right, she's like, our team feels so close-knit. We have 5 new kids, and yes, we had 9 return, but 5 new kids, that's a good amount. And for our team to look as close as they are and look like we haven't missed a beat from last year is amazing. And this team is its own team in its own right, rather than last year's team. But you can tell they all love each other. They all got each other's back. They all mesh well. And we don't force team fun. You know, a lot of programs force team bonding because they have to do those things, right? When you're a family, it's real. You don't have to say family on 3 or do force team fun to make it feel like a family. When it's a family, you want to do things with your family. So again, right, like when we do stuff like that, it's not like this is mandatory and you have to come. If you want to come, come. If you don't, it's all good. I mean, we do things like that throughout the summer, whether it's going to get ice cream, going to get chips and guac, going to carve pumpkins in October, right? Like just going, you know, Isa on our team played on the Brazilian national team, going to Carly's house and just watching that, right? Like we do things like that. And our staff, our doors are always open for our kids. We want this to feel like a home away from home, and that they can come to our houses whenever they want, whether it's with the team or by themselves. They want to come to my house and watch TV. By all means. Coach, a lot of them, Coach E, when you cooking? I'm like, these are all my kids. I'm like, when am I cooking? I need to watch film. What do you mean? Right? But that's how we operate. We love these kids like they're our own. And that's so important to our success. Like, we have a lot of talent, but talent is not what has gotten us what we got last year, and then, you know, even got us a win, you know, the other night at Arkansas. It truly is the character of each of these kids and buying in to be selfless for one another and putting it together to be a family, and not just a family with quotes, right, but an actual real family that loves and takes care of each other. So.
And I promise y'all, Coach E is not just saying this. If you want to ever see this family team bonding thing, I saw a TikTok in the locker room the other day. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. The pumpkin carving thing I saw on social media. So if you don't believe it, it's absolutely the truth. And I think with that, in terms of, you know, as TikTok we say is a joke and social media, but like I think you guys do a great job of letting the outside people that don't get to like be in those facilities kind of see what you guys are doing. And it's not like all business at the end of the day. Yes, you guys are winning basketball games, but I think the best teams can balance that. Balance the fun, balance when you guys got to take care of business as well. And I think that's a huge part of your success as well. And that's going to be pivotal moving forward as well. So I want to switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about Janelle Brown. She came back for her 5th year this year. Definitely did not have to do that. If you've ever met Janelle, she's one of the nicest people on this campus and really a true leader. She defines what Fairfield is here on this campus. You might see her doing a variety of different things as well. So I want to start with you, Kaety. As an incoming freshman last year, just kind of take me through, you know, how she helped you develop in your character and things like that, and really on the basketball floor and more importantly off the floor as well.
Yeah, so my freshman summer, I got to live with Nelly in the dorms, and it was honestly the best thing for me because like it was truly just like eye-opening to like how it's going to be. And like, she really led me through those first months. And like, I even joke, like I call her and her girlfriend Sam, like they're my moms, because those first, like they would cook for me. Like I'd go over there and she'd just like watch film. Like she'd be watching her own film and she'd be sending me videos being like, don't do this, like stuff like that. But no, honestly, Nelly is one of the most amazing people you'll ever meet. She's such a leader, a caring person. Like you said, she's one of the nicest people, but she's also crazy. Like, like if you think me and E have energy, Nelly's on another level. But Nelly's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. She definitely got energy. That is for sure. But it's all good energy. Coach,
they're both nuts, by the way. You can tell, right? We got a camaraderie right there with 2 point guards, right? They're both nuts, and then I'm their position coach. Just great job, Coach Carly. There, great job.
It's chaos.
Coach E, I'm going to ask you a very similar question in terms of how does she make your job easier as a coaching staff? She is almost, I see her as a coach player, even though she's on the court, probably 90% of the night. But even when she's on the bench, she's absolutely influential on making sure people are uplifting, things like that. I've never seen it really a negative thing. I literally cannot point one out, I promise you. So how has she kind of helped you as a staff grow as well?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Nelly, because her growth from, year one to this year has been unbelievable. She was never a bad kid at all. She was always a great kid, but her growth into being a leader and being the player that she ultimately wanted to be when, college was done and winning championships and stuff like that and leaving a legacy and impact is so important to her. She's grown so much, so that's definitely a shout out to her. We were there to help her, but it was all the work that she did. So we're super grateful and appreciative of that. But as a coach, man, like she's a dream to coach. She's a kid, like Kaety, that has a chip on her shoulder, is gonna run through a wall for you. Like literally will run through a wall, get up, and then like go play defense. Like it's insanity. And you want to coach kids like that because every kid is not like that. And those kids are special. I mean, you don't get them every year. So for us to have 2 kids on our team like that, that's pretty special. And I will never take that for granted. And I'm scared for every team that plays us because those guys, they don't have an off switch. And I love that. Like we have to try to tone them down. It's not a thing, right? Like there's no off switch for neither one of them. And I love that. But a coach's dream. She's a great kid. Nelly lights up any room she walks in. I mean, like Lammy literally said it. She was like, Nelly is literally the most amazing person you will ever meet. The most competitive, the most loving, fun. I mean, her smile is literally like, just like, oh, like you're having a bad day. Nelly comes and like makes you laugh and smile. Like you're just like, I'm not even having a bad day anymore, right? Like,
right.
And she's just a good kid. She does everything for the right reasons and not necessarily for herself, but because she cares about others. That's honestly what makes her so special. And her being around a team, players, coaches like that, she thrives, right? Like, and I think, that's something that she's always wanted her entire life. And for her to be able to get that in the last 5 years has been great for her and her growth. So makes our jobs easier for sure. She definitely gives me gray hairs, her and Kaety together. So I've definitely aged. And I'm pretty young on the staff, but I've definitely aged coaching those guys. But I wouldn't want to do it with any other 2 kids. They truly are special. And when they both are done here at Fairfield, they will have won a lot of championships, and they will have left an impact on my life and then everyone on this campus and then this program. And there'll be kids that we'll talk about 10 years from now in the recruiting process of like just how special they were. I mean, you hope that you can get kids like those guys, in 10 years or when they're done in, a year and 3 years to come and do what they did. But one of a kind, man, both of those kids just truly special. And we're grateful to coach them every day. I'm grateful they're on our team. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't want to coach against them. That's for sure.
Absolutely. And I think one of the best part about Fairfield is the community that we build. If you're listening as a recruit, listen right now. This is the most important thing you'll hear all day. This is the community through and through. It's not like you're only going to see these athletes in games. You're going to see them in dining halls, classrooms, things like that. And so please just kind of take that in consideration when you're coming here. But for everyone that doesn't know, just kind of being in this campus, it's one big circle. So if you really, it's all family. They talk about this team being a family, and really in the media side of things that myself and Kyle work in, they're inclusive with us too. So it's definitely a huge part of what we do. And as you can tell, it's a lot of fun interviewing you guys. So Kyle.
Yeah, so of course we wanted to make sure we got a chance to talk about this. Talked about it a little bit before we got on here, but living as a student athlete, Kaety, what do you like about it? What do you not like about it?
It's definitely very busy. Like there's a lot, but I like being busy. So I'm not a person that really sits down for a long time. So there's always like a lot to do, when it's balancing classes, doing the actual practices and lifts, getting in extra work, and then just kind of like balancing and making sure that you're having fun. But the thing I like about it is like everyone's like, how do you have fun and still like play your sport and do your schoolwork? But it's like, to me, that is the fun, like getting to be with those people every day and getting to play like the sport I love with the people I love. That's super special to me. And then obviously there are some downsides. Like I did just talk about this when our bus got back at 12:20 from waking up at 3:45 in the morning, and I had to fly home, and the bus gets in at 12:20, and I'm like, all I want to do is go unpack and go to sleep. And they're like, all right, 12:30, go to your classes. And I'm just like, all right, but it's what you signed up for. Everything's going to have a downside, but
Student athlete, student first, athlete second.
Yeah, I studented that day, so.
Good job, Lammy, good.
But it's the lifestyle you sign up for, and it's just, I love it, so I wouldn't trade it.
And I think that's the beauty of being here is the professors. And I want to talk about kind of higher administration and things like that. I know, professors work with student athletes consistently, and I think you'd more see this from a coaching perspective. So Coachy, kind of talk me through how, Paul Schlickman, Zach Dayton, and our professors here have really helped you guys be as successful as you guys have been in the last, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, their vision for, athletics, women's basketball has been amazing. Coach Carly says this to recruits all the time that, Paul told her, when she was getting hired, that's the price of doing business, right? Of being able to be one of the best teams in the country and compete at a high level. Like, yes, that's the price of doing business if you want to be good. And you don't hear a lot of ADs, right, say that. You don't. They want you to win, but sometimes they don't want to give you all the tools and resources you need to win. Paul, Zach, Allison, our SWA, they do a great job, all administration, of making sure that we have everything we need to be successful. They obviously did a great job in recruiting Coach Carly here and hiring the best head coach in the country, but then giving us everything that we need for these guys to go out there every night and be successful and let people know that Fairfield is the place to be. And we are one of the best teams in the country, and whether you believe it or not, we're going to go out and show it every single night. So they do a great job. As I tell recruits in recruiting, the professors are amazing here. They really do care about our student athletes. They want them to be successful. They want to do everything they can in their power to help them be successful. And whether they need extra help, office hours, maneuvering around when we're traveling and stuff like that, extra tutoring time and stuff, like professors are always willing to do that for our athletes. And it's special for our women. I mean, last spring we finished with a team GPA of a 3.5. That's pretty good, right? So finishing the season 31-2 and then with a 3.5 team GPA, I mean, that's a coach's dream. Like that honestly warms my heart, because I joke when I say student athlete, but it really is student first, athlete second, because at some point in life, and these guys know because we talk about it all the time, that it's bigger than basketball. Basketball will stop eventually. I thought when I played I could play forever. Eventually those knees don't work the same. And those guys know that, but for them to take, everything that they do every single day in the classroom and on the court, and then they apply it to life is so important. It makes them so special. So they take academics very seriously. They know as a staff, we don't play about academics. That's so important, and it's a privilege to play basketball. You got to take care of your business in the classroom, and they do a great job of doing that. So it would have been very easy for Kaety to be like, coaches aren't going to check at 12:30. I'm going to sleep. Like, I've been up early. We had an early flight. I played last night. I had 18. I ain't going to class, right? Like, it'd be easy for someone to say that. I might have said that when I was in school, but don't tell my old head coach that.
I won't say a word.
But that speaks true volume to the character of the women on our team, right? Of like, all right, my book bag's already in my car. I'm going to class, coach. And them going there and sit in class, even though that they're tired, and still doing what they need to do in their homework and essays and studying for tests, and being able to get good grades, and then still come back the next day to practice and do all those things and not making excuses. That's so important, and it's so pivotal for you to be successful. So our administration, professors, everyone here at Fairfield make our jobs as coaches easier and make our players' jobs easier with how much help they're given. I mean, Carly says this all the time. It's on our locker room wall as people make the place. And that's so important to your success in anything that you do. And trying to instill that in these guys when they graduate and it's all said and done is important. The people are what's most important, and that's going to help your success. So.
Absolutely. And talking about higher administration, I always mention Fairfield University President Mark Nemec. Okay, he is courtside at the majority of your basketball games. If you ever need sock advice, he is the man as well. Kaety, a higher administration question, but also kind of just an atmosphere question. What is it like to play on the court at Leo D. Mahoney Arena with thousands of fans screaming your guys' name?
And Dr. Nemec, courtside.
Of course. That was implied.
In his awesome socks.
He's elite.
No, it's amazing. Like when I was originally getting recruited, they had showed me the blueprint for it, and I was like, this is incredible. Like none of the other arenas I had been to looked like that, and getting to actually play in that environment was very special to me, and getting to continuously do that every home game. We don't take it for granted, and I think something we always say is protect our home, like protect our court, and we did that last year. We didn't lose our home, and I think that's something like we all carry with us throughout this whole season and throughout the upcoming years, because it's very special, and it's something that we're very grateful for.
A bit more of a fun question, but I just wanted to ask it. You guys have talked a lot about like character, personality, and like people you might like model yourself after. So for either of you, was there a like basketball player, like coach, just model growing up that really helped you grow into the person you are now?
You got that, Kaety?
Nah, that's you. You can go.
Okay, you want me to start? It's Kaety Lamb. No, I'm just playing. My journey, there's not one individual person I can say I'm like. I think I'm a little bit of everyone that's been in my life. Every coach, my mom especially. And if you met my mom, we are pretty much the same person. She just wasn't a coach. But, there were so many important people in my life. And every person has impacted my life and made me a better person, helped me grow as a person and as a coach. And then for all my coaches I played for, from when I was, from third grade all the way through college, every one of them was special. Every boss that I've worked for, they're mentors to me too. They've taught me, they've helped me grow in ways that I didn't even know I could grow. So I can't give individual credit to anyone. I've been asked this question a lot, and there's a bunch of people I can name, because again, you don't get anywhere alone. You get places with the certain people in your life, and even if it was something super small, it's a piece of you that you'll have for the rest of your life. So I'm grateful for everyone that I've had in my circle, in my corner, that still support me till this day and have supported me up to this moment. I'm truly grateful and blessed for the people in the village in my life that continue to help me grow as a person and as a coach. And I mean, I learn from our players every single day. I would consider myself young, but they try to tell me now, like, Coachy, you should know that you're not old. And I'm like, I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Like, can you make me hip? Like, I need to know this for recruits. Like, what are we doing? So I mean, I learn from those guys every single day. They, again, like I said, when Katy's done here, she's impacted my life, as a coach, as a person, and it's helped me grow. You can learn from any and everyone. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're not growing and learning, then you just don't want to get better. I mean, learn from you guys too, so it's everyone has a piece in my journey, so I can't give kudos to one person, but pass the ball to you, Kaety.
Oh, that was really good.
U-turn.
I was going to say the same thing. That was excellent.
I was going to say I grew up and I wanted to be like Larry Bird, but I feel like that seems really insignificant now. But I would kind of say, like, same beat with Coach E, that my family is very, you can see like me and my family and me. Like, I grow up in a very sarcastic, energetic, outgoing household. Like, people meet my parents and they're like, it just makes sense. So yeah, I would say the same with Coach E. Like, I'm who I am because of all the people that pieced me that way.
And that's big. Just going forward and kind of our conversation here. Coach E and I talked about a month ago about all of you guys' big events, those theme nights we have here at Fairfield Women's Basketball. And I think that's so important for the Fairfield community. So I'll start with you, Kaety. What is it like to play on those theme nights? Like, I believe you guys have a Black History game in February, right?
Black Excellence, yep.
Yep. And do you have a women's game as well?
We have
a youth night,
pink game. Like, we have a National Girls and Women's Sports Day game.
Yeah.
So, and then we have a Pride night as well. Sure. So we are all about the themes here at Women's Basketball.
That's right. And there's
love wins, baby, all the time.
Absolutely. And Kaety, for the young girls out there, what is your mission? I think, when I was an athlete and we had these senior days in high school and things like that, those youth days, it was one of the most important days of the year for me, and just kind of being able to inspire in different ways. And I'm sure at the D1 collegiate level, it's even crazier. So kind of just go through for me and see, when you see those young girls up in the crowd, chanting your name, looking at you as an inspiration, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, no, like, all those theme nights are very important, and seeing like young girls, especially like after our games, like they come up and they like want your autograph. Like, doing that and going through that first game day where a bunch of little kids are coming up to you and asking for your autograph, asking to take a picture with you, like, it's very special. And I think, like, one of the biggest things for me is we had the Meet the Stags night in town the other night, and I showed up, and one of my campers from summer camp was like, "Oh my God, Kaety!" And she was wearing my jersey, and I was like, that was really special to me. But I think using the platform we have to show, especially young women, like, in our world, that there's so much room for them to do amazing things and, like, to keep growing and, like, just be able to build a society where, like, young girls know that they have so many opportunities is very important.
Coachy, to coach on these nights, when you see your athletes be immersive in the community, you have things in terms of, coaching on specific nights as well. How does that feel for you? I'm sure, not every place has these theme nights, and so to be at Fairfield and the beautiful state and city, what does that mean to you to kind of just be immersed in that community?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to our administration for allowing us to do that. Like you said, every school is not doing those things, or is not allowed to, at least. Carly and our staff really believe in a lot of those theme nights. And it's important for us to use our voice and our platform, especially our women in the world, and use the sport of basketball to be able to, help educate, teach, empower, women, people, whoever, and that's so important to us. So definitely shout out to our administration for allowing us to do that. And then just, to piggyback off of what Kaety said was just about our elementary school games. First and foremost, I definitely have a headache for like a week after. A lot of screaming kids. I'm very loud and I can't hear myself in that game. So they do a great job of selling out Mahoney Arena and yelling. For sure. Yeah. But I definitely have a headache for at least a week. But just to see, our women, I mean, like, kids literally trying to tackle our kids to get in line and get a picture and autograph, and kids crying and saying, "You're my favorite player, oh my God, you're better than LeBron James." Like, it's insane, right? Like, women's sports, women's basketball is the place to be. Our women are super special, so for them to be able to be in the community and get that love, I mean, not even just on elementary school night, but every night after a home game or after afternoon game that we play, the fans in the community, they love our kids. And to see, little girls crying and little boys crying because they are getting to touch Katy's hand, and get a picture with her and hug her and see them in their jerseys, that stuff is so amazing. Because again, like we talk about, it's bigger than basketball, right? When you're a kid, and I'm pretty sure, as Kaety grew up, when she was younger and got to go to games and stuff, you see these people and you're like, oh my God, I want to be here one day, right? And then, in 5-10 years, they're the same, as Kaety, and doing what they love on a big stage and impacting, the younger generation. You never, I say this all the time, you never get, a first thing. I said this the other day at the game.
Second chance at a first impression.
Yes. See, that's the assist right there for my point guard. You don't. So you never know if a kid's ever going to be able to see them play ever again, but you leaving that impact in the way that you play, in the game that they watch. And then after, showing love and, smiles and going to love on people, that's so important. It's the reason why after home games, we don't go straight to the locker room. Carly's so big on our women going straight into the stands and sign autographs, thank people for coming. That's so big. It's one of the reasons we've been successful. Home court advantage is big time, right? Kaety said it. We haven't lost at home, knock on wood. That's important to us, in the way that the fans and the community show up for us, the kids, the parents, everyone, the donors, the season ticket holders. That is so important. And I know that these guys appreciate it, but as coaches and our coaching staff, we appreciate that as well, just to see our women on that platform.
Yeah, no, I think these memories that you guys are creating for these fans are amazing. And then almost to for yourself, it's hard to even think about it, but how do you stay in the moment? Even with how busy you are, it's going to go by before you know it. Is there anything you try to do throughout the season to kind of keep yourself grounded, enjoy where you're at?
Yeah, one of our biggest team mottos is be where your feet are, which just enjoying the moment and soaking it all in. And I think that's something we're very good at, because there's so much happening in one season, and it's we're really big on celebrating the little things. So no matter what it is, a little test grade that you get that was good, stuff like that. Just enjoying all the simple things in life, and then you're gonna enjoy the big moments as well when they come.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for everybody listening out there, you can go and follow your dreams. You don't let anybody stop you and things that you're doing. And these two women that are sitting next to Kyle and I have absolutely embodied that image. And we want to use our platform to give you guys the voice and the courage to go do whatever you want in life. And I think that's a huge part of what Kyle and I love about our job, is we get to bring in these profound people. Even though they're great athletes as well, we respect them more as people. And please just go follow your dreams as much as you can. Now, back to the basketball side of things, just kind of wrap up here. If you had one message, I'm going to ask both of you this question. If you had one message for any young woman, any young person, anybody older than you, to kind of, if you had one motto in life, what would it be? I'll start with you, Kaety.
One motto?
Coach, you went first last time, so I'll put the pressure on this time.
That's tough. She knew this question already then.
I did not know this question.
No, she went first.
Logan did not give me any cheat codes before this.
One motto I would say is just to do everything you do with love and joy, just because I think that's what will get you the farthest in life. Is if you love what you do, you're going to do great and you're going to want to work hard and do good at what you do. So I just think carrying everything with love and joy will really get you far.
Coach E?
Wow, Kaety, this is really my daughter. Like, honestly, like I was definitely gonna say something about loving, doing what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. I get to do that every single day, so I won't repeat that. I'll give you guys another wisdom from me, but just never dim your light in who you truly are, and work hard at anything you want. No one can ever tell you what you can't do. You can do and you can be anything that you want in this life, whether it's the president of the United States, it's a lawyer, it's a doctor, it's the next, MVP in the WNBA. It doesn't matter, right? The president of this school, it doesn't matter. You can be anything or anyone you want to be in this life. So never let anyone dim your light. And even when you get told no, keep going. Keep going. Keep your head up. What's next? What's next, right? And never get discouraged just because you don't get something the first time. Keep working, keep going after it, because you will get everything that you go after in this life, and it may not be exactly when you want it to, but you will eventually, and add that as fuel to the fire to be who you are. So,
I know we're interviewing these two wonderful people next to us, but I'm actually going to ask you, Kyle, same thing. As we get to go on the journey with this team every single year, and so it's really fun for us to kind of be in the arena. If you had a message to anybody or out there that to watch this team, what would you say as somebody that gets to bring their story to life every single night?
I was not expecting a question.
That was the point.
No, it's good. Yeah, so it's super fun. This job is amazing. I mean, to be able to you might not always know what you want to do, but when you actually get the chance and you kind of you can actually see yourself doing something in the future, it clicks. That's special. And this team is special. Fairfield has been amazing with the opportunities they provide, and being at that arena and getting to call games is fantastic. It's amazing.
Yeah, I think, Kyle and I worked together in the past a lot, and just being able to be not only around women's basketball, but our entire Fairfield community. I think we do put athletics at the high priority for us, but more importantly, as people, we're at a high character level around the university. So let's talk about the upcoming schedule. All right. So the next game is Tuesday, November 12th. It is the home opener against Richmond. There is also going to be, I believe, a ring ceremony type of thing happening as well. I will spoil that just for fun. So please show up, give this crowd, because really these women are great basketball players, great coaches, but they're even better people at the same time. And so to wrap up, my name is Logan Rundy, your assistant sports director here at Fairfield University. Kyle Scannell, a gentleman to my left. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. We couldn't appreciate it more, and we had a lot of fun this morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. 7 p.m. Tuesday. Pull up, celebrate last year's team, and let's enjoy this year's team. Let's go. Go Stags, baby.
Last messages from Coach Kaety, Coach Erika Brown, sophomore standout guard Kaety Lamro. I'm Logan Rundy, Kyle Scannell. We'll see you next week for the next episode of Stags in the Studio.